Previously on DrakeParagon.
We're at the airport in Paamiut, Greenland. Do you get many foreigners who fly in through here? We're going up to the tower.
They still think that we're living in igloos.
Has there ever been an emergency here? Oh wow. Firefighting suits and sea rescue suits.
He's the chief of fire and rescue here.
What does this word?
Feed.
Are you the fire department not only for airplane crashes but for all of Paamiut? Thank you so much for inviting us to the airport and giving us a tour and sitting down and having a talk with us. Can you tell us who each of you are?
I'm Niels Inoksen. I work for Air Greenland company. I'm the station manager for Air Greenland. I've been here since 2008. I have 5 kids at home. A wife.
And is your wife from Greenland?
She's from here, Paamiut. She's half Greenlandic and half Danish.
And so your children are half Greenlandic and half Danish
Yeah,
also?
they are.
Wow.
My name is Hugo
Hugo?
Svensson. I'm half Danish, half Greenland. I'm thrift manager here in airport and moved to Paamiut 2007, 1 month before they opened the airport. I have 2 daughters and a fiancé, also not married, not yet.
My name is Brian Billman Hjortborg. I'm born in Manitok and I moved here to Paamiut in 2011. I'm 40 years old and I have a fiancé, soon to be married. I'm half Dane, half Greenlandic.
And you've lived in Greenland all your life?
Yes, born and raised in Manitok. Yeah, and we from Greenland Airports and he from Air Greenland. It's 2 different kind of companies.
Oh yeah.
They have all the airplanes and we have all the airports.
Yeah.
How many flights go through the airport and where do most of the flights come from and where do they go to?
We have a short airstrip, 799 meters, so not all aircraft can land here, of course. A medium-sized aircraft can land here, or of course, small-sized aircraft. Air Greenland has some short takeoff and landing airplanes, and that is what is landing here. We have Dash 8s, 200 version, and Dash 7s, and different kind of helicopters is landing here. And beyond that, small airplanes. And also ferry flights, small airplanes that cross the Atlantic from North America to Europe is landing here for refueling. Usually come from Goose Bay, Akulivik in Canada, or St. John's. Come to Paamiut refueling and then go to Goose and then Keflavik in Iceland.
How long are the different flights within Greenland?
Within an hour you could be in Nuuk or Narsarsuaq. Within 2 hours you can be in Kulusuk, East Greenland, Kangerlussuaq, Manitok, Sisimiut. If you have to go to the farthest airport in Greenland, I think with a Dash 8 it will take 4 hours of Toronto from Paamiut.
Does the airport operate all year round?
Yes, in the summertime we have open from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And in the winter time we are closed Sunday and Monday, work from Tuesday to Saturday.
Is it more difficult in the wintertime with the snow, or is there ice? Is ice a problem?
Before that airplane land, in the wintertime we have to sweep it clean. And if there have been any ice development on the tarmac, we have to remove it also.
Are tours of the area available by plane or helicopter, or scenic tours, or
No.
you know, it's just transportation?
He's too expensive, so therefore.
We don't have any hangar in Paamiut, so we don't have any airplanes that spend the night over.
Yeah.
But if you have a lot of money, we can get an airplane and we get a sightseeing. But we
Right.
don't offer it as a package.
It's very expensive because you have to pay from, like Nuuk, if the airplane is Nuuk, we have to bring it here and we have to pay for that trip also.
Wow.
So,
And it's not so many tourists in Paamiut, so
No, there isn't enough for that.
This summer we have only maybe 2 tourists from
yeah, that's you.
Do many sailboats come to Paamiut? Foreign sailboats that come and stay? How many in a year do you
This
think?
summer?
2.
Every summer.
Every summer.
Every summer
They stop
there's
here.
a sailor
Yeah.
comes by.
yeah.
Do they stay here for long? Like,
Maybe a week max. A week.
wow, so we have the record. We stayed here the longest. I love it here. I don't want to go anywhere else. But do you get tourists who come to Paamiut by plane?
It's more family.
Yeah.
If my family come here and they are tourists, you don't get charter tourists, you don't get backpack tourists to Paamiut. It's not developed yet.
Can you tell me about Paamiut? How many people are here, and what do most people do here? What is life like here?
There's 1,600 inhabitants in Paamiut. But if you go 10 years back, we have 3,000 inhabitants. So the people are moving away from Paamiut.
Paamiut's getting smaller.
Yeah.
Everywhere in Greenland, they all collected in Nuuk.
I started to came here to Paamiut in 2007 when the airport opened. I was working in Nuuk airport in the tower. But when I came here, it was another atmosphere, relaxing. Hugo was also here, so we became good friends. Then I think 2011, we decided to move here for 2 years. I was to plan to work in the tower, but after 1 month, they asked me if I want to have the responsibility of the airport, and I said yes. And the only 2 years of being here in Paamiut, we decided, me and my becoming wife, we'll get old here. We like it. I think it's like when you live in a big town and you go out into a cabin.
Yeah.
It's almost the same feeling. Peace, quietness, and if you don't need the big towns, what they offer, if you don't need that, you can live happily in Paamiut. We don't have a swimming hall, we don't have big bars, we don't have discotheques, we don't have big stores. It doesn't matter. We are happy here.
Yeah.
And the other thing that makes me happy in Paamiut is very good hunting and fishing areas.
Yeah.
In Nuuk you have to sail 1 hour, 2 hours to get some catch. But here you just have to go out in the harbor and you have all the fish you like.
Hunting.
Salmon,
Yes.
chard, you name it. We have it all in Paamiut.
Wow.
And hunting, it's half an hour sailing from here. Then you have reindeers and 2 hours sailing you have muskox.
Yeah.
Muskox.
Yeah.
Once there was very big fishery place here, and now not so much fishery going because they have some, what you call, you have to only catch so much here, and here depends the year, and so therefore maybe also therefore the move from Paamiut. But is fishermen and factory from fishery who works most?
So at one time, the fish plant employed most of the people in Paamiut.
Yes,
And
that's
then
right.
when the fishing industry became smaller,
Yeah.
there weren't as many jobs there, and people started moving to Nuuk.
Yes. Or Denmark.
Denmark.
Or Denmark. Do many people go to Denmark?
Yes.
Do you think that's a problem for Greenland? Are the numbers large? Are the number of people that are born in Greenland but then want to move to Denmark?
Many is coming back also after a couple of years.
For me, it's not a problem, but for the society, I don't know if it's a problem. They go where the job is, and you can't get a job in Paamiut. You have to move. But I also know, because we have the social system in Denmark, many go to Denmark to benefit of the social system. Everything is cheaper in Denmark. Everything is cheaper in Denmark, so many decide to go to Denmark to get more property.
But also, I think people in Denmark move to Greenland and they settle here forever.
Yes.
I've seen many families that are made of somebody born in Greenland and somebody born in Denmark, and they marry and they have children, a lot of mixed children. Niels, do you think Paamiut is a good place to raise children?
If I could, I would move to Denmark, just only for the children's education.
The schools aren't as good here.
If I could choose and have or find a great job in Denmark, I would move. Just only for my kids. And then maybe move back when they grew up until they are about 10, 12, 13, 14 years.
Oh yeah. The school system here, it goes until you're age 16, doesn't it? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, what do people do? Do many continue their education?
It depends on the family. Most of the young people, they choose to go to Nuuk. They have university
In Nuuk.
in Nuuk.
And I've heard that others also go to Denmark after. Do many go to Denmark when they're 16 years old to continue school there?
We have an 18-year daughter and 17-year-old son at home. They don't want to go to Denmark. They haven't learned Danish as good as they wanted to in school in Paamiut. So it depends on the child how much they have learned in school. So if you're lucky with a school that has incredible tutors, then you might be lucky to have children that grows up with Danish or English.
I have to send some weather.
Oh no! So what languages are spoken here in Greenland?
Over 90% speak Greenland.
Julius, he's from East Greenland.
He's from East Greenland.
He's from East Greenland. And they have another dialect than us.
Oh really? Do people from East Greenland and from West Greenland understand each other? Is it is it similar?
It's a little bit difficult to say, but
There's a two dialect in East. Julius came from where the dialect we are closer, but in the southeast they have another dialect also, so it's more maybe difficult than for us.
What do kids learn in school? Like, what is the language requirement of kids growing up in Paamiut?
It's Greenlandic, Danish, English, and German.
Really?
Yeah. It's only available for some of their schools.
Is there any reason why there's German, or is it easier
Oh,
to learn? Or it's
They came from Danish
okay.
school system. They have only moved the system,
Into Greenland.
for 50 years ago.
Yeah.
We haven't met many people here, older or even younger it seems, who speak English. Unfortunately, we've not learned enough Greenlandic to even ask basic questions, so we're politely asking people if they speak English, and in many cases we haven't been able to communicate. No, I don't think many people speak English here.
No, they don't.
No, but almost everybody speaks Danish.
I'd say about 50-60% of people, they can understand Danish.
Only about 60%.
Maybe 70.
It's the older generation that don't speak Danish very well. But I think from 50 years old and down to 0, they learn Danish very good. But of course, some choose to not to learn Danish.
Really, there are people who just don't want to learn Danish. They just learn Greenlandic.
Yeah, in Greenland. I know, for example, in North Greenland, they have this opinion, we don't need Danish, so we don't learn Danish. But it's up to them. I think Niels is right. Our education system has its shortage. It needs to become better. With our education system now, you can get an education and get a job in Greenland, but you have difficulty to get a job, foreign job, as go abroad and get some job. But if you are a smart kid, you can, as in everywhere in the world, you can reach anything.
What are the industries here in all of Greenland?
Fishing is the main industry. That's where we earn the most money. And the second is service. We cut our own hair. That is the second biggest. And then I think on the third place, maybe tourism. And in the future, I think the biggest industry will be mining and oil.
Mining and oil.
Yes.
It's not currently a big industry, mining and oil, but you think that it will change in the future?
Yes, I know it will change in the future, because the foreign big companies are searching for oil and they're searching for minerals all the time. 2 years ago, it boomed with oil investigation or searching for oil, and we could feel it in our pocket. I read in the newspaper over 50 big multi-companies are asking our government to take some minerals out of our earth, and when they start, it will be the biggest industry in Greenland.
Wow.
And the good thing about Paamiut is it had a deepest harbor in Greenland. You can just come in with the big oil ships to the harbor. So the Paamiut will be the center of oil shipping.
Do you think more than Nuuk or other harbors?
Yes.
I didn't know that Paamiut has an especially deep harbor compared to other places on the coast.
Yes, plus we have a lot of empty apartments in Paamiut because of the people moved from Paamiut. And we have an airport. So I think it will be the center of offshore oil industry.
How many years do you think it will take to really grow here?
I think from 3 years to 15 years, it will start. I hope so.
Can you tell me about the relationship between Denmark and Greenland? The history, how did it start, and where did it go, and what is it today?
Our relationship to Denmark started in 1721 when Hans Ede came to Greenland as a priest. And thereon colonization began. They saw possibilities to get the whale fat industry to lighten up European streets. So we have been a colony until I think it was 1953. We was a colony. After 53, we became a, how do you say it?
County.
Yeah, a big count under Denmark. And fortunately, we have, I think, 3 or 4 strong politicians in the 70s. They worked for that we get home rule. So in 1979, we get our own home rule. The only thing we don't have ministry of is foreign policy, and there's one more, police and court. There's also justice department is under Danish government still. The relationship between Greenland and Denmark is, I think, very good. We respect and love our queen, dronning Margrethe den anden, and we are very royalist. I think we have a very nice relationship between Greenland and Denmark. Of course, there's some Greenlandic people who don't like it, but I'm a half Dane. My father's upbringing is Danish upbringing, and my mother is a Greenlandic. I have Greenlandic upbringing too. So I have one foot in each. I take the best of both parts. Are you agreeing with me that the relationship between Greenland and Denmark is good?
Yeah, I always said so. But there was in the 60s, and there was the Danish who said that we have to move all places to another place, and there was not so good the atmosphere after that. So there was many, there was by using force.
Really?
Yeah. Not that kind, but you have to move and to do it. So there was from that period there was not so good against the Danish. And therefore also there was a period where the kids in the school won't learn Danish. There was us.
The Prime Minister of Denmark, I think in the end of 40s, he came to Greenland and sailed around as you do now. And I think in that time 60% of the Greenlandic people lived in existence minimum, very poor. He wanted that every Greenlandic people live normal conditions as a middle class. So he decided to close all the small villages and make a Greenlandic industry country. Build the fish factories in the big towns, then we close the small villages and let them move to the town.
And then
they work in the factory.
So many Danish people came to Greenland at that time to make that happen.
Yeah.
And was it a very difficult time for a change?
It's kind of culture shock. That period. All the things that Dane brought to Greenland, many of Greenland have never seen before.
Industrialization of Greenland. Greenland's gone through a lot of change.
And it had a short period. So it took quite fast for many people in Greenland. There was a period people were drinking a lot. I say they became a little bit confused about that period. We say
You have to be more Danish.
The politicians in Denmark, they say you have to be like a Danish people.
Wow.
You have to live like Danish people. But the people are in Greenland, they have the way of life. They are different than Danish people.
Of course we have some scars.
Yeah.
And the Greenlandic people have some scars from hunting culture to our culture today. Of course, it was hard to move from a settlement or a village to a bigger town and leave your home and build up a new one. Of course, we have some scars.
Yes.
But compared to other cultures,
smoother,
it's smoother.
Could you tell me about the products that people buy, from food to furniture to anything? Like, where does everything come from? What comes from inside of Greenland and what's imported?
Everything are imported.
Everything.
Everything are imported.
What,
All from food to furniture.
wow. What things are produced in Greenland? Or are any things exported out of Greenland?
Fish.
suppose it's fish.
Only fish.
Only fish.
Yeah. And minerals in the future.
Yeah.
We don't have any production that we export except for that we catch.
Yeah.
Of course, we hunt and fish ourselves, but if we have to buy salt oatmeal, we have
Plastic.
imported.
How does that happen? Through ships or planes? Or both? Both.
Mm-hmm.
What is the biggest shipping harbor in Greenland? Is that in Nuuk?
Yeah.
Do they mostly come from Denmark?
90% of all the goods we import is coming from Denmark. And the rest, I think, maybe from Iceland or USA.
Do many people in Greenland buy products through the internet, like sort of mail order, and then it gets shipped to them here?
We do.
You do the three of you. The three of you buy.
What is internet?
But daily merchandise, we buy it in store. But special goods, spare parts, for example, it's cheaper there, and we order it. Even if we order in USA, if it's cheaper, and we have a my US address
in Florida.
Florida, Sarasota.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
You've all got addresses in the States that you have things shipped to.
We also are American.
Global society.
Yeah. Greenland really depends on the ability to order globally anything that you want. Do people wait a long time to get products? Like if you buy furniture, how long will it take?
We are used to.
Yeah. And so everything must be a lot more expensive because it's coming so far, or?
Is it cheaper or more expensive? In Denmark, you have to pay 25% of tax. We don't have to pay it in Greenland.
Oh.
So the 25% we use it at freight costs. So it's almost the same price. I would say so.
We have for the cars, we have some tax and sugar and alcohol.
We've noticed that alcohol and tobacco products are more expensive than we've ever seen anywhere else in the world. Why is it so high, or how is it taxed? Where does the money go?
Many get sick because they smoke too much.
Yeah.
So therefore, they try to get it down this way to pay more tax for smoke.
What is the financial arrangement between Greenland and Denmark? Doesn't Greenland receive?
Yes, we do receive. I think it's 3.5 billion Danish kroners a year from Denmark to home rule of Greenland. And beside that, the Danish government is paying about 1 billion Danish kroners for the police and justice department in Greenland. So I think it's 4.2 billion Danish kroners that come from Denmark to Greenland.
Does Denmark receive something from Greenland in exchange for that money?
Yeah, there's a discussion that the Danish government yearly
get discount from
NATO because of the US military in Thule.
Thule Air Base is the U.S. Armed Forces' northernmost installation. The base operates a ballistic missile early warning system capable of detecting and tracking intercontinental ballistic missile attacks and conducting space surveillance and satellite tracking.
US base in Thule. Danish government get a discount for that. And it should be more worth than our money here from Denmark to Greenland.
We don't know.
If you find some oil, after
75 million, all what we earn from oil industry, about 75 million is our own. After that, we have to split it with Danish government. There was a contract they make 2009 for the self rule government.
It sounds like Denmark is investing in Greenland's development and future, and will receive profit from that investment in the future when you discover oil or minerals.
Plus, Denmark is not a small country. They have Greenland and Faroe Islands. PR, I don't know.
Can you tell us about the geography of Greenland and where do people live?
Greenland is 2 million square meters, and of that about 80 to 85% is ice. Almost 80-90% live in west coast. The last 10% is in the east.
It's amazing to me to think that there could be an island that's 80% ice. I mean, no one's inside, right? Does anything happen on the inside where the ice is? Do people explore?
There is many explorers every day. They're coming and study drilling. I think for a couple of years ago there was the deepest drill in the world for the ice. 3 kilometers deep drilling.
Yeah, the climate science.
Yeah, climate.
The benefit of it. They can see how the climate had been millions of years back. So,
have you guys gone into the inside at all, or do you guys?
I have been.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah. So before I was a flight mechanic, we fly with explorers. We land on ice.
I can't imagine what it's like to be in a place where you're surrounded by nothing but hundreds of miles of just...
all white.
Are there any animals that live there? Does anything live there?
no, except for the insects that come with the storm from USA or Europe. They're small, catching with the storm and ends in the ice cap, but nothing living. But I don't know in the bottom of the ice cap if anything's living down there. Maybe. You never know.
Can I ask you about whales and the whaling industry and the history of Greenland and where it's at today?
I think the whale industry began in the 1700s.
No,
1500, where European ships come to Greenland shore and get the whale, and they use the fat to the oil, lamp oil. There's a long history of whale industry in Greenland, and if you in the coast you can see buildings that have been used to production of the oil. Native Greenlanders eat the meat, the fat then became to oil and is exported to Europe. But now
we have not allowed to sell the whale meat out of country. So all what we kill of whale we eat.
Only in Greenland.
Only in Greenland.
yes.
Do you export the oil, the fat? No, nothing.
We're not allowed.
Nothing. We have.
To no other country.
It's only for our use. We catch the whale and we eat it. Everything.
Yeah. And that industry has always been here in Greenland. Greenlanders have always been hunting whales. What kinds of whales are hunted today and where? Just around Greenland?
Some years ago, first time in a lot of years, there was allowed to shoot 2 Greenland whales.
Yeah.
Pibokka.
Pibokka is humperdinck.
Humper. That we like a lot.
Yeah.
And we have sildepisker.
Sildepisk is
It's smaller than the humpback whale. And we have narwhales, I think, with the big.
How long do those get?
3.5 meters, 4 meters,
4, 5.
4, 5 meters.
The biggest maybe 6, 7. Can
Okay.
be.
Pibokka, tigaulli.
So
That's the 2 main whales that we.
How many humpbacks and how many narwhal do you think in 1 year? Or are they
Google
hunting?
I can Google it.
Are they fishing every day for humpback whale, or is there only?
No. It's quoted.
Have you ever had any issues with Greenpeace or any other organizations or countries that don't like whaling, or?
we don't like them.
We don't like it.
Yeah. We have a sail skin industry before.
Oh, seals, yeah.
Skin industry. And we export a lot of it. But then Bridget Bardot, she made a poster with a baby seal and her.
Yeah.
That killed our export of seal skin. Now I think we have 300,000 pieces of seal skin in Rakoto. I think it's only the last couple of years that the Chinese people are beginning to buy some seal skin.
Seal skin.
I read last week it was going up again, that the Chinese buyers begin more sale.
I think it's Copenhagen, they have their fur auction and it's starting to raise again our export. If you go into Rakoto, visit it and you can see a big amount of seal skin. Our national clothing, of course my fiancé has seal trousers and camics, but we don't use it for daily clothing, unfortunately. For example, isn't it seal skin? Why do I have to import it from Asia or whatever? Why is it seal skin?
Can you tell me about sports? Are there teams, like a national team or city teams that play against each other? What are the sports here?
We have some football, soccer, and handball, and
Table tennis,
hill skiing, and slalom, and running with ski. Kayak. That's right.
Inuit games?
Inuit games.
In Paamiut.
In Paamiut.
But in Nuuk you can get Shotokan karate, taekwondo, aikido, you name it. I think everything.
Are there sports that are on TV?
Fitness,
Yes, when the national championship, usually we can see it in TV. It's mostly volleyball, handball and football. Every 4th year we have Arctic Winter Games, where the youth of Greenland travel to one Arctic country and compete with other Arctic nations.
I saw that there's this huge sports hall. Is that used a lot?
Yes, in the winter time it's used all the day. From 8 o'clock in the morning, I think, to the afternoon, it's for the school. Every student go up and have our gym hour. And after 2 o'clock, it's different kind of sports clubs who share the time. And from Monday to Sunday, it's active all the time.
And is it closed now at the moment? Or?
In summer.
Oh, okay.
In summer closed now.
Yeah.
So when the school start, they open. It's almost the same day.
What is the school year? Kids, when does it start and end?
They begin from August and end of June.
40 weeks a year, 5 days. 200 days of school.
It's year round. What is the weather like here in Paamiut?
We are south of the polar circle, so we don't get midnight sun in Paamiut.
What is midnight sun?
Midnight sun is where the sun doesn't go down the horizon in the summertime. And in the wintertime the sun doesn't come up the horizon. So you further north you go and longer time it is, you don't see the sun. If you go to Ilulissat, north of the polar circle, you see the sun 24 hours in the summer times, and you don't see in the winter time. But in Paamiut we're fortunate, we can see the sun all the year. It's a coast town. Paamiut means who live at the coast. So we get a lot of fog in Paamiut in the summertime. And how cold does it get in the winter time? I think if it's very cold we get down to minus 20 degrees Celsius. But normal winter days maybe minus 8. Extreme cold then it's minus 30. But it's rare. And in the summertime we have very cold summer this year, not so much sun. So we had now today plus 13 degrees of Celsius. That is highest this summer. This year is very extreme. We haven't seen the sun very much. Old Greenlandic people say that 2 years after volcanic eruption in Iceland we get this kind of summer.
Really? The volcanic eruption in Iceland changed the weather in Greenland?
Yeah, 2 years after. Then we get a cold summer, as now.
In June there was snow. The beginning of July also, by the way.
What are the big pipes that I've seen scattered throughout the town and they're above ground? What is that?
water pipes.
Water
pipes, yeah.
I've never seen pipes like that above ground. I was wondering, why aren't they underneath the ground?
It's so expensive to blow up the mountains,
Rocks.
the grounds,
Rocks, yeah. Heated also.
Heated pipes.
Heated.
So they don't freeze.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the land it's not so much dirt, a lot of it's rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard to put the pipes underground.
Yes.
It's expensive when we are not so many, we are so few to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of the time they choose cheapest and easiest way.
Do all of the homes and apartment buildings have fresh water and fresh sewage plumbed into the house? No. Some of them don't have any.
Some of them they don't have. Many of the houses have to get it from dog house. What do you call it?
Doghouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen these small blue
Yeah.
blue
That's
huts. And you go up and press a button?
yeah. It's a fresh water. You can get it. It's free.
We also get the water for coffee and tea from these. We get it ourselves. The water we get from the water truck, we use it for washing machine and our fire and rescue crash center.
Yeah.
That's a tank you see. You ask what is the tank? That's we use only for the wash and toilets and so on. So we don't use it to drink because
You can drink it, but it smells different. So we get it from the town. You can see it.
So the water that I can get from the blue doghouse, is it okay to drink?
It's the
That's-
best water you could get in town.
yeah. It's free.
And where does the water come from?
It's melted snow.
It's all
floor.
the melted snow.
Yes.
And floor.
Floor.
Yeah.
Alright.
For protect the
Yeah.
teeth.
All of the water that you drink in Paamiut comes from snow and ice.
Yeah.
It's melted.
Yes.
What about sewage, and what do homes do that don't have sewage? Like, where does it go? How do they dispose of it?
You have some plastic bags.
Yeah.
You collect it in plastic
In
bags.
bags.
Put it outside.
Yeah.
They get it.
And they pick it up and take it away
Yeah.
on a
And you-
truck.
Yeah.
And then it's out to the seawater.
So for homes that don't have sewage built in, they use a plastic bag that's in a bucket, and then once a week somebody comes and takes the bag away. Is there any crime in Paamiut or in Greenland?
No.
Yes, of course. As any settlement in the earth, we have some crime.
Is it much of a problem here in Paamiut?
There's some where youngsters don't have anything to do. They make some.
Especially in summer times because they don't go to school or so they
and the sports facility is closed down. It rises a little bit.
going
Joyrides
to
and
empty houses and boats. So
Stealing, but not so much, I think.
there is. They take some small boats and sailing around. Take fuel.
Yeah, and when you get some alcohol, of course, there's some beating and fighting and noises in houses. Police come and.
I think it's not so much more as before. There was Paamiut was one of the most known for those kind
For crime?
Yeah, for crime.
Violence, crime.
Yeah.
When they were younger.
Yes. My father,
Yeah.
he came first time to Greenland in 1967. He came to Paamiut. That time they didn't like Danish people or foreigners. And that was just after Peace that you mentioned, where they closed a lot of villages.
Yeah.
They couldn't go from workplace home alone.
Right.
They'll get beaten. So they have to be 4 or 5 together to go home without getting any beating. But you don't see that today.
No.
I will beat them when they are finished with the interview.
Yeah, only two.
Really? So there was
Yeah,
there
but
was
it's
violence in the
not only in
past.
Paamiut, it was all over the Greenland.
Many of the Danish was guilty. Guilty. Yeah. Because they said that the Greenlandic is, you don't know nothing, you can't work, and they have that kind of attitude. Because when you come from Denmark, you know so many things, and when you come to Greenland, and of course the Greenlandic people, they don't know what kind of they do in Denmark, so they don't know many times, and therefore be called lazy and drink too much, and so therefore they get.
I read an article that said Greenland had 3 sexes: women, Danish men, Greenlandic men. The Danes in the beginning of the 60s and the 70s came up, and they had a higher wages, salary than Greenlandic men, and became quickly rich. Greenlandic women like that the Danish men had a lot of money, and the Greenlandic men didn't have any education, and if you had the same job, you will get the half of the wages that the Danish men had. So there was a period that they said there was 3 sexes in Greenland.
Wow.
Danish men, Greenlandic men, and all the women, because of the unbalance.
I can imagine it being a very, very hard time, difficult time. You really think it's changed?
Yes, we have taken a lot of steps forward in our country, in our society. I remember when I was a kid in Maniitsoq, I was half Dane, and I got not beaten, but psychic beaten, psychic violence. But my father was very strong, so they let me be. But other half Danes, they get beaten. I think in the middle of 80s and the end of 80s, that disappeared slowly.
Yeah.
It was hard time to be half Dane in Maniitsoq when I was a kid. I don't know, did you feel it when you were young?
Yeah, 60s and 70s there was, like you tell, that's...
So the first 14 years I was half Dane. And then I moved to Denmark to go to Fort School to get my exam for 2 years. Then suddenly I was half Greenlandic in Denmark, and also felt the same hate for me. Not half Dane, but now half Greenlandic. But it just got me stronger.
And have do you remember, were things worse decades ago?
I'm the lucky one.
Huh?
I'm lucky.
You're
I
lucky.
haven't experienced like that.
It's too young.
I'm too young for
Do you
that.
know, there isn't any more fighting or anger between Greenlanders and people from Denmark that are here. It's more equal now.
Yes. Yes.
I've heard many stories like complaints about beating at schools and stuff like that, but my generation hasn't experienced like they did. It's more peaceful and not so hard than it was.
In our generation, our parents had to choose if you have to go to Danish language classroom or Greenlandic language classroom. So they were divided. Danish classes, Greenland classes. But when was it? The middle of 90s. You mixed them.
Yeah.
And they're mixed now. So that is faded out.
I'm so glad that I came here. I knew nothing about Greenland. I really knew nothing. I really didn't know what to expect. And it's been wonderful. We've met many friendly people. We haven't met anyone that hasn't been friendly and welcoming, and we have felt very comfortable here. As soon as we motored into the harbor and we didn't know where we could go or where we could tie the boat up, and we motored back and forth a few times, and then somebody from the shore waved to us.
It was me.
That was you!
Yeah, and I did that to you.
Yeah, that was you!
He was coming with his grandson.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that was you. Thank you so much!
We didn't know where to go.
He asked, where should we put him? Here. Okay,
I didn't feel like you directing a plane. Well, thank you so much for coming out that day, and you were the first people that we met.
Yeah, we were waiting for him and his grandson.
Oh yeah!
You're fortunate.
This has just been fantastic, and thank you so much. You're welcome.
Welcome.